Welcome to Expanded Knowledge. Today we're going to take a look at Congressman Robert Garcia and what he has been up to with the UFO/UAP issue. This is Representative Robert Garcia right here. So we're going to talk about what he did recently that's so significant, in my opinion, and by all standards of, I think, anyone that's following the UFO story as it unfolds behind the scenes. So there's a bit to unpack here. And of course, I don't know what level all the listeners, the audience, you all are at. You may be totally brand new to the UFO UAP issue. You may be very advanced in it. So I'm going to try to fill in some of the gaps for either way, but without, also trying not to go too in depth that we run a lot of time here. All right, so we're going to try to keep this to like 20 minutes ish. And I do think this is an important piece as the story keeps unfolding. And Robert Garcia, I think, is potentially a ally for UFO UAP disclosure, and seems like, at least from my judgment, seems like a pretty honest and admirable young congressional representative. So let's get into that a little bit. Bear with me a little bit because it's been a long day and I'm actually just getting the hang here of recording this live. I'm usually editing, so I'm going to keep trying to be as concise as possible. And basically, because I can't be editing, it's just too much other time of things that I'm doing, but I want to keep talking about this topic and other topics. Welcome to Expanded Knowledge if you're new here. And basically, I am a history teacher, been for about 10 years now. I'm also a college professor. I teach a critical thinking college course. And yeah, so I come from that kind of a background and just am open-minded to everything. Of course, like I think we all should be, as we all are kind of in this mystery of what is life, what is our reality, what's the nature of it. And I personally think it's honorable to pursue those questions. And that's what we've always done as human beings. And this topic, of course, just happens to be, I think, probably the most significant one right now, alongside, consciousness and others. I mean, they go hand in hand, you find out. But this is some sort of thing. This is some sort of enigma that has sort of been there for a while that I think we need to solve. And I think it's on the radar now of the society at large. I mean, it's not, because people still don't know really what the details of this all. But anyway, that's why we try to talk about it here. And really, all topics are open at Expanded Knowledge. It just happens to be that the UFO one is at the forefront of my own research interests and just current events, really. I think the payoff from something like disclosure could deliver on so many levels in society, but this is all topics for another video. Let's get back to Robert Garcia. Okay, now to link that, Robert Garcia is actually, I first saw him at the 2023 of last year, July, almost a year now, UAP hearing in the House Oversight Committee. Of course, this was the one where David Grusch testified, and David Fravor and Ryan Graves. Robert Garcia was one of the Congress members that was up on the stand and he actually was taking quite a leadership role. I remember I watched the hearing live from my computer, and if I remember correctly, I may be wrong, but I think he was the first person to speak, and he was kind of leading. He was like a leading voice of the hearing, kind of low key. Liked what he said. He's from an education background, and so yeah, to link that, as educators, as I can say, I've been through the training program and master's degree. It would make sense that this topic is very important for education in all senses and in all fields. This would be a intercurricular event. It's an intercurricular phenomenon. It goes to all of the fields, science, history, etc. So it kind of makes sense anyway. And he's been a good voice for Congress and for disclosure. So we gotta think about how we're gonna budget this here. Okay, I got you here about 6 minutes in. I'm gonna wrap this up in 20 minutes. All right. So, but man, the context and the detail is really what gives the understanding here. So let's see what we do. All right. So Robert Garcia, you first see him at that July 2023 hearing. And then, okay, to fast forward, the first time that Congress ever got to meet with this person right here. This is Thomas Mannheim. All right. So David Grusch, UFO whistleblower, went through the official whistleblower channels, submitted a 4-year investigation of top secret programs, 4-year investigation, 40 plus witnesses, and then submitted his case to the Inspector General of the Intelligence Community, who's Thomas Mannheim right there. So he and whoever in his office gets to handle it has all of David Grush's evidence for him to come out and go public and get approved to come forward as a whistleblower and say, if you don't know already, if you're brand new, that okay, UFOs are real, right? That's a given in his claims. They've been retrieved, crashed or landed, quote, UFOs/UAPs have been retrieved and reverse engineered in secret programs that have been kept out of the appropriate oversight that Congress should have under the Constitution, under the law. And this is a big legal issue as well as just a kind of reality shocking issue and conspiracy, whatever you want to call it. And I mean, so who's David Grush's lawyer? Well, that turns out to be very important as well. Somebody named Chuck McCullough. All right. And Chuck McCullough was actually was the previous ICIG, Inspector General of the Intelligence Community, from 2011 to 2017. All right, real quick. What is the Inspector General of Intelligence Community? Let's break it down if you're brand new to these concepts, these terms. The intelligence community is the 17 or 18, I forget, it's 17 or 18 agencies in the federal government, within the executive branch of the federal government, that include the FBI, the CIA, the NSA, the NRO, all of those intelligence, okay, and intelligence, aka spy, aka, top secret information, national security secrets are within this apparatus. All right. Information is withheld from the public. That's a fact. And the Inspector General of the intelligence community was created to be an independent body from all of the intelligence agencies, independent politically, and where anyone from the intelligence community can come forward with claims, corruption, misuse of funds, etc., things like this. All right. The premise of David Grush's claims are that he discovered this information and it's not being overseen by Congress, and that he was able to verify it. Okay, he submitted all of this evidence of UFO crash retrievals, reverse engineering, disinformation campaign against the American people. He submitted it to Thomas Mannheim. Okay, And that's where the evidence lays. All right, and currently does, although some say some might be at the Department of Justice because there may be criminal charges. Anyway, this is who David Grusch has in his corner. He's not just some random military guy coming out and just claiming something, which is kind of how the media made it sound. Anyway, 6 months after the hearing, Thomas Mannheim finally meets with Congress in January of this year, 2024, to brief them in a classified top secret briefing in a SCIF about David Grusch's claims for the first time since the hearing. So July 2023 to January 2024. Now, Congress, right after the hearing, did send a letter to Mannheim and said, we would like to be able to get this information, such as the locations that David Grusch says he has and can provide of where the projects, the reverse engineering crash retrieval projects occur and are ongoing. And his witnesses were firsthand that are still working currently on the program. He said this under oath to Congress. So anyway, and Mannheim basically replied in like July or August after the hearing and basically said, we're not, in other words, he basically said, my office is not required to give you any further briefing right now. So, and that was that. Then in January, they meet with him and they're briefed on David Grusch's claims. Okay. And that's when you saw different Congress people coming out and saying, we can't really talk about what we found there, what we were told, but we got more information. All right. And actually, that's why I have this clip up here, because I'm just going to show you what Robert Garcia said right after he walked right out of a briefing. Okay. So imagine you're a representative who's like a decently just honest person. You just got briefed in a top secret briefing in a room of maybe 10 people that are only going to hear this in the world, as far as you know, of David Grusch's claims about the U.S. government secretly retrieving crashed alien spaceships. I mean, let's call it what it is, whatever aliens are. And you just got briefed by it, and then you're getting asked questions about what you were told. And let's just listen real quick to what Robert Garcia said.
Obviously, we can't talk about the details of the briefing, but I think there was some interesting information, and so I think that this is a topic that I think is a national security issue, and it's really important that there's disclosure and transparency. I think that's what the public wants. I think it's also a very serious topic, and so we've got to just take it with seriousness. It is not a joke.
One member used the term that what they were exploring here were, her phrase, interdimensional beings. Is that something that we're dealing with here potentially?
I mean, I think it's easy to be disappointed when you don't get all the information that you want, which I understand. I would have loved to receive much more information, but I think it's reasonable to say that everyone that was in the room received probably new information. I certainly did, and this is a serious topic, and it deserves serious attention. And I actually encourage also members of the media to continue covering this topic. I think that's really important. It is not a fringe topic. It is a serious national security topic.
I like what. So, yeah, there is Robert Garcia. And I think that's honestly maybe my favorite quote from any congressman that I've heard so far, just in the simplicity and the earnestness of it. This is not a fringe topic. I mean, you walk out of there and that's what you say. And it's a very serious issue, right? So that's what I actually pulled out in my quote here for my book project I'm working on. And here it is, just from the mouth of a representative that got to be one of these privileged people to hear this briefing about the UFO crash retrievals, etc. And he says, this is a serious topic. It deserves serious attention. It is not a joke. The media should keep covering it. It's really important. It's not a fringe topic. Okay, it's a serious national security topic. So this is Robert Garcia, all right? And cool. So we got to really wrap this up, all right? So we're going to do it. What did he do recently? Robert Garcia. All right, before we get to that, we got to real quick just remind or learn, if you're new, the UAP Disclosure Act, aka the UFO Disclosure Act. That was the name of it, UAP. July 2023, actually just before the hearings, the Senate Intelligence Committee, that's the committee in the Senate of Congress who are the only ones that get the classified briefings from the military and the intelligence community to be representing the people in getting this information and, working with the rest of Congress to make sure the laws and everything else and oversight is in place. So Robert Garcia is in a position where, national defense is part of his responsibilities. And the UAP Disclosure Act of 2023 was passed unanimously by the Senate Intelligence Committee. And those senators that are signed that bill have all spoken before and said in one way or another that it's a real topic and there's something there, and they're interested in, and they're gonna get, to the bottom of it in one way or another. And even Chuck Schumer. I mean, Chuck Schumer is the one who headed the bill. Now, Chuck Schumer is the Senate Majority Leader, the highest position in the Senate. Okay, the person who came before him, one of the Senate Majority Leader, was Harry Reid, who was the one who got funding for $22 million to make an official study on UFOs and UAPs, etc. That's the OSAP program. That's the ATIP, right? Chuck Schumer is carrying on his legacy. He's said that publicly in the Congress floor before. So you just add it all up, right? And you just say, obviously, there is something here. You would not have them sign a bill in the year of an election year coming up as the Democratic, because Schumer is a Democratic, but it was a bipartisan bill, by the way. It was Republican Mike Rounds and the Democrat Chuck Schumer, right? That's UAP Disclosure Act said the word non-human intelligence, which is like the official terminology for alien, basically, to just put it in a broader category. That's the term that's been used in the legislation. 23 times, something like that, the word non-human intelligence is used. Talks about any government agency that has evidence of UFOs, UAP records, and materials, technology, and biological remains of non-human intelligence, technology derived from crafts of origin of non-human intelligence. This is all the language in this bill right here, okay, that passed unanimously in the Senate. And then when it got to the House floor, it was rejected by two powerful chairmen of the Armed Services Committee and I believe the House Intelligence Committee, Mike Rogers and Mike, whatever the other Mike's name is, two Mikes. And that's the word, is that they rejected this from happening. And the other piece to it was that if this was found after a thorough investigation, the materials, the technology, the biological remains, that would have to be turned over to the United States government as an entity of eminent domain, and it would be put to use for the public good. Okay, that's the language in the bill. Now, I think in an idealistic sense, it's a good idea. This also would have had a review panel of 9 people. So different civilian experts from a variety of different fields would come together and slowly, rather than just dump all of this at once, because imagine how deep it may go, a real disclosure. So the idea was to do it in a controlled kind of strategic way, and this review board would figure out how to do that. And they would have to actually, what was great about the bill was that they would have to go through a very strict process to justify why it couldn't be disclosed. And so I like that about it. The only thing I don't like about the UAP Disclosure Act of 2023 is that it ultimately, if you read it, and this is what it is, the president still retains the ultimate power to continue not disclosing certain information indefinitely. Okay. The regular extensions for delaying the disclosure go for 25 years, and then it has to be disclosed unless, and that's the language of the bill, the president of the time says that it needs to continue to be postponed indefinitely. And I don't like that, giving that power to that one person, because look who our presidential candidates are right now. I mean, do we really want it to be up to them what we get to know or not? Come on. Come on. So I got 3 minutes here. Let's wrap it up like this. All right. Now you got all the context. What Robert Garcia did is, this is his post. I'm offering 3 UAP amendments to the National Defense Authorization Act. We must continue to responsibly push for safe reporting of UAPs and bring that transparency to the public. This is critical for our national security. Okay, that was just a few days ago. And that's in reference to he resubmitted all of the, basically all of the same things that got cut out of the Schumer bill that we were just talking about. That review panel got rejected. The eminent domain, getting all of the technology from these illegal operations and making it public, public domain, basically, which would be awesome, right? In theory, if it was done in an honest way. Garcia is pushing for those to get back again, and that's great. I think that's really great. It's going to put it on the spot. And I'm not sure the details of how this all works, because I don't know, after it first got negotiated and passed, I don't know how this measure can be voted on. If it's voted on differently, we'll see how this unfolds. But I do think I do commend Robert Garcia for coming forward and taking this leadership on doing this, because we need some action. We need some practical, pragmatic action to keep moving the process forward. Okay. And so it's good to see him doing that. And what I'd like to do, and maybe we'll do a part 2, if I have time to read Robert Garcia's bill, basically, I would like to read this thing. And I think if we really read it closely, we'd see maybe some subtle differences between the Schumer bill. So maybe we'll have a part 2, but we're going to end it there because I got to hop off here. So hopefully that wasn't too much of a ramble, but we do what it does here at Expanded Knowledge. And thank you for watching. If you made it this far, go Robert Garcia. Let's keep moving forward with responsible, thoughtful, but honest, and ultimately meeting the rights of the natural right, what I believe is the natural right to, freedom of information and knowledge about our reality. But I do understand also why we need to be careful about it, why there's reasons to be careful about it. So it seems like Robert Garcia is taking a good step here. So thank you for watching. And I will see you in the next one.